What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video on Car Talks 100. What are we looking at? We are looking at one of the most commonly seen cars on the streets of North America. A successful small compact SUV, rivals obviously against the Honda CR-V. This one is the Toyota RAV-4 LE. You will see the window sticker says 2022. I chose this one because this was the only LE parked in the lot where I am filming this. And two, the shape specs hasn't changed much, so it's pretty much the same. Of course, this is a used one, but the brand new is almost identical as to what you will get currently from Toyota when it comes to the RAV-4. RAV-4 has 13 trim levels to choose from. That is a lot of trim levels. I'm not going to name all of them, but the base starts at LE, which is this one. Very much apples to apples if you take this and compare it with the CR-V LX. They start at a very close price point. This particular one starts at around $28,475, so just a tick under $29,000, and the CR-V LX starts at $29,000. So very, very comparable, and these two are the cars that people compare when they're looking for something of this size in this current market. You can also look at Nissan Rogue, you can also look at Mazda CX-5, you can, I think that pretty much is in the Japanese lineup, or maybe a Subaru Forester or an Outback. Forester's rather small, I think, but give or take, you get the idea of what this falls under. We do 360 and we'll go back to the front. This is, like I said, the LE version. It is in white paint. It's a flat white paint. With CR-V lineup currently from Toyota, you start at somewhere around $28,475, and then you go all the way up to 39 something, so just shy of 40,000. But you have 13 trim levels to choose from. That's a mix of, you know, LEs, XLEs. There is one that's called like the TRD Pro now within the lineup. There is one that's called Woodland. So there's multiple trim levels, a mixture of hybrid, non-hybrid. This particular one being an LE, or the base LE at for RAV4, is a 2.5 liter four-cylinder engine, one of the most common and most successful engine Toyota has brought in. What are we looking at when we look at the front of this car? It's a basic car. For under $30,000 with the cargo space this gives you, and you ride a little high end with the Toyota reliability, you don't get too many flares here, but practicality-wise, this car is fairly solid. What are we looking at from headlights and down below? Standard halogen headlights. There is an option on the inside that says DRL on, and I did turn that on, but there is really no strip or anything going across. My assumption is one of the bulbs will be running at the daylight or daytime if you do choose that option. No functional vents on the side, it just is a block there. You do have the vents open for the cooler there. No fog lights, it's matte cladding there, and then your Toyota Sensing does sit in that emblem above. Overall, just a very basic looking, not bad, aging well design of this car, and the way you spec it up in different trim levels, you can make this car look rather appealing in its class for what it offers. As we come to the side, these are 17-inch steel wheels with hubcaps on them, which is standard for both RAV4 LE and CR-V LX. Not really sure why they went this route, but I suppose that it helps them cut the cost to an extent. And if you really wanted to go, you know, in up level with at least decent alloys for this RAV4, you'd be moving up to at least an XLE, be it hybrid or non-hybrid, or for the CR-V, you'd be moving up to the Sport or EX and then Sports, because they offer you alloys there. Overall, the side profile is fairly solid. This being an LE, this has a black and white contrast going on with body color. Door handles, but non-body color side mirrors. Typical plastic, it's not gloss, so if you look up close, and or even from farther away, you can kind of see that it's more on the cheap side than on the contrast side. Cladding is there, so if you go opt for the TRD Pro or something of that sort, it will take a decent beating if you go on gravel and things like that. Overall side profile, it's solid for what it is. I'm very glad that the chrome only runs at the top of the windowsill as opposed to wrapping it all around, so you can see it's just here and then it kind of fades away as it meets the quarter window in the back. Otherwise, nothing crazy going on with the roof either. No roof rails, no insertions for you to put aftermarket. Maybe you can. I don't think that RAV4 like LE or anyone would want to put that on there. The rear of this car, I think it's aged well. I'm like, it's a standard rear car, right? This one has the all-wheel drive equipped with it, so that's an upcharge there with Toyota because you can get a front or an all-wheel drive. Overall, a standard back for a standard car that is being bought for one, cargo space, two, for someone that wants to ride high, and of course the Toyota, so the reliability is unquestionable there. You do have backup camera standard, which is pretty much standard on almost all cars at this point by federal regulations. Top mounted brake light, the wiper, and then all down below is matte, so we'll take a decent beating there. What I don't like about these kind of bumpers, which happens over time, is let's say if the car, you try to pull something or what have you, or maybe it's just the age. If you look at the bottom, this thing pulls, and then if you're driving behind this car, you can see the lip actually, just being protruded like so, and it looks ugly. And the only way I think to fix it, either one, you drill a hole and you pull it somehow with like a coil thread or replace the entire bumper. Otherwise, it's got two exhausts there. Both are functioning exhausts. They are wrapped under the aluminum piping there, but the actual exhaust sits inside. It's not something that is worth mentioning on the RAV-4, but here it is. To get inside, to get into the trunk, there is a latch here, or a button rather, but it doesn't do anything automatically. You can see it goes back down. So you have to lift it with your hand up, so that's there. All seats up, you get about 30 some cubic feet, and then the seats down, you get about 69, so it doubles that. Most of the time people will use it like so because it still gives you enough cargo space here, but if you want to put the seats down, you can reach from here and just pull that lever and push it down, or you can go around and do it that way because obviously it's an LE, so there's no release here. There's also no power in the back, so no tailgating with like 12 volt socket or anything like that. Underneath, you have a spare tire, a full spare tire rather, and that pretty much is it. The floor would be all flat when you put the seats down. To shut it, there is two grab handles, no buttons or anything like that. And keep in mind, this one's a 22, but nothing much has changed when it comes to how the 24s look. I'm guessing this one is due for a redesign now that the CR-V has been redesigned. With Honda and Toyota, it's just a constant battle of who comes out with what first. But here it is, the RAV-4, the current generation, how it appears to be. We'll step inside and we'll talk about what's going on the inside. And as we do, I'll show you the jackknife key on the Toyota. So here's how the current fob with the key looks like. It's got Toyota emblem, and it's a jackknife. It's a standard key. It does not have the trunk on it, so just lock, unlock, and then the panic there. To get inside, it's standard. The door panel. I've got the water bottle there just for you folks to see the storage there. The beige and black, I don't know about this color scheme really, but then again, it's a base level car, so whatever they want to do, that's fine. No one's really going after this, but I've never really been a crazy fan of a beige interior. This tone beige in particular. I used to have a beige one in my previous Accord, but that was a different tone. This one just stands out a little more. Anyways, the door panel is rather standard. One thing that I do like, and Toyota picks and chooses when they want to do this versus not, but all four are one touch up, one touch down. That is solid. Otherwise, standard controls there. No tweeters, just the regular speaker there, and you have a cup holder that holds about 500 ml just fine, and then you have another here which doesn't hold the bottle, but it is there. As we climb inside, I'm going to rest this here, but as we climb inside, the interior for this being an LE, I like how it is. Frankly speaking, I do like how it is. It feels very solid. It feels Toyota. It does feel like you are in a car that, with the price you paid, you are getting somewhat decent things. So if we go ahead and turn this on, like you folks know, this is not a hybrid trim level. It does require still the key also. So turning it on, typical Toyota chime. The engine sounds like any other 2.5 liter that Toyota has, so very similar to Camry, similar to the RAV4 here as well. It does have manual tilts, not telescopic, just actually it is telescopic, nice. So gauge clusters, standard. You have a little display of multimedia, so it will tell you things like the doors open, this, that, or when you receive a call, it should be coming here. Otherwise, all dials are analog. Coming from this side, it does have Toyota's safety sensing, so you've got that, the lane departure, and then you've got the light control here. This car still has the controls for your fuel lid. It's not unlocked when the car is unlocked, so you got to come around and release that. Up here, you've got injection mold plastic, which is nice, soft to touch. Then here it's somewhat leatherette-ish feel because the car is LE, so it doesn't have really much leather going on. The steering wheel, you have your multimedia control. Obviously, Toyota went away with their standard and typical cruise control there from, I don't know for how long it came through. I know at least in the cars of 2013, 14, it was still there, but now they're all buttons. So here's that, but this is typical steering. LE does not have leather wrapped, so you just get the regular kind. Infotainment screen, you do have the Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, so if we go to the menu, it is on the smaller side. I think it's smaller than 7 inches. I don't know the exact dimensions, but it does look small. It is the one with the most bezels there. Otherwise, works fine. Graphics, okay. For 22, I think they could be better, but just in general, or 24 is very similar to this as well. The 23 especially, so it's okay. Like, I'm not gonna zonk too much, but I think it could be better. Typical vents, this car does not have dual climate control or dual climate zone, so it is single climate zone. Here's your fan speed, there is your temperature, and then everything else is standard when it comes to the buttons. Here you only have a USB-A, from what I recall, if I can open it. That's a USB-A, and then your 12-volt socket there. Your traction control is weirdly placed right here in the dead center, as opposed to being on the left side of that. I do really like the substance of this control. The shift knob, which it feels very rugged. It almost feels like you're moving a Tacoma or a Tundra with the way this operates, but I like it. Standard features here, you have your parking brake, you also have your brake hold, and then the modes are all listed out so you don't have to control or toggle between. 6 modes, so that's rather nice. Then a very, I don't know, stupid cubby. I don't know, what would you put in this? I have no clue. And what's the purpose of this? Just so that it wasn't a blank piano or plastic there, they made it somewhat usable to their best abilities. Cup holders, round, but they are deep, so that is nice. You can put, I've put a 500, but Toyota has always been where their cup holders are rather shallow, but this one does have a grip, so that's nice. So otherwise they will just topple over. Nothing too crazy going on there. Your console is leather padded. You have a USB-C, 2 USB-Cs in there, so that is nice. And then same carries over for the current year as well. And then the storage is rather decent there. If we go back to the passenger side, you have this area where you can stash a phone in here, and it's not felt, but it's also, so it will rattle, but it's got some texture to it, so it's somewhat frictional. Here is your glove compartment. Not going to open that, and then you have your typical window, typical door with the typical cup holder. This is a used car, rather. This is beige. You can see the dirt on it, and that's part of the reason why I think I typically advise if you can move up to somewhat of a leatherette interior in any car, especially if you're buying a brand new one, then do it, because over time, especially with light interiors, it does take beating because just the color of your clothes sometimes rub off, so it needs a little bit cleaning, especially when it's a beige or a tan like this. Overall seat comfort, if you've sat in any of the Toyotas that are base, it's exactly the same. There is really no change there when it comes to how the seats are. They're just normal seats. They're fine. You won't be tired, but they're also not like super plush. Coming from the front into the back, standard door panel. What is in the front is almost identical in the back, except obviously one control here. As we get into the back, just wanted to point out with the ISOFIX covers for car seats, they're dead easy to get to. They don't have a cover or anything on it, so it's just very exposed and nicely out here. If we get into the back, the seats are, this particular seat is set to my height, 5'9". Plenty of legroom. Plenty of knee room there. You can probably cross through your legs if need to be. We do get power, which is only 12-volt socket here. No USB A's or C's. You do have the vents. So this car does not even have dual climate zone, but it does have the vents for the rear passengers on the LE trim level, so that is nice. Can't recall if CRV LX has one. I have not done a review or sat in an LX, but I've sat in EX, which does have that. Fold down cup holder there, because it does have the not through loading, but it has a 60-40 split there. I do like that they're raised, as I always say, but I don't like when there are horizontal as opposed to vertical, because if you want to rest your arm, this will be in the middle. Overall, the back is not to be talked about too much. Don't like the seat color. Will never like this tan beige, but overall, comfort is fine. These seats, I don't believe they recline. They do not recline. So they are just set in position. They don't recline. No sunroof in the LE, obviously, but Toyota has so many different packages and so many different things you can add on to the base model, unlike Honda, where most of the time it's like you go from one trim to another to get what you want. For example, if you want a sunroof, maybe you want an LX, but you just want the sunroof in it, you got to go up to a different trim level. But Toyota makes it slightly easy for its consumers, where you can go and basically build your car somewhat of the way you'd like. Overall speaking, RAV4s are very solid cars in the segment they fall under, compete literally neck to neck with the Honda CR-V. My pick, my choice, I prefer. It just has been a preference simply because I like Hondas from my past experiences with them, and also just in general, I'm somewhat of a fan of a Honda in general, but there's nothing that I have against Toyotas. I've had Toyotas in the past too. In fact, one of my Toyotas before my 16 Accord was a 2011 Camry. So I've been in the family of these Japanese big dogs, and I enjoy them. I truly enjoy them for what they offer, which number one is reliability, and two is most of the time the longevity of this. So these cars do make it to the top 10 cars that, you know, will last you over 200,000 miles. They age well, especially if they're designed a mixture of moderation, conservation, and somewhat, you know, somewhat, what do you call it? The futuristic design. This one is not futuristic by any means, but you get the idea. It's just a boxy, small, compact SUV that gives you reliability under what it comes, which is Toyota, and it gives you longevity. And you're really only buying a RAV4 for a couple of those reasons. So take your pick, but if you were to compare the 2024 RAV4, which is the same design as we're looking at, or a Honda CR-V, my suggestion would be, if you're looking at a RAV4, try going up to at least the XLE to get a little more things, such as the alloys, such as the leather interior. And if you're looking at the CR-V, I would suggest you look at least the EX trim level and up, simply because you get a little more bang for your buck there, and you won't have to deal with the wheel cap / hubcaps in 2024 almost. So with that being said, thank you very much for watching, and would appreciate your support. Please keep bringing the feedback back so these videos can get better, I can get better, and can bring more content to you folks as this scales. Until next time, take care, everybody.